Welcome back to Santa Monica Weekly. Our first guest today is going to talk about the importance of the city's landmark I've Got 7 campaign.
Please welcome the City of Santa Monica's Emergency Services Administrator, Paul Weinberg. Thanks for joining us, Paul.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. So tell us what the I've Got 7 campaign is all about.
So the I've Got 7 campaign is a program the city started many years ago to encourage our residents, those who live, work, and play in Santa Monica, to get prepared for emergencies. We recommend having 7 days of emergency supplies. We realize that in the event of a true major disaster, we're going to be on our own, both as individuals, as city, as businesses, and it's in our best interest to be prepared.
What was the driving force in creating this campaign?
Well, it's interesting. We had started this campaign probably in 2002, and it was mainly for city employees. We wanted the city employees to have preparedness supplies to be able to help the community in the event of an emergency. And then after Hurricane Katrina struck, we realized we needed to roll that program out to the community at large, to get the schools involved, to get the residents, the special interest groups, the businesses, the service providers. And it was a very successful campaign. Everybody really got involved and found ways to make it fit their own program.
That's great. Now, have other cities replicated this program?
They have, and that's been a lot of fun watching that, especially after Hurricane Katrina. We did a lot of response and recovery work in the Gulf Coast, and some of that was explaining to different communities it's important to get prepared as a city. So a few years after Katrina, we received some inquiries from other states. One of my favorite was cold weather preparedness from a small town in Arkansas, and they had our I've Got 7 logo, which is a fun logo. They put a Santa hat on it and snowflakes around it. That was very neat. This year, Hermosa Beach and a couple of the other South Bay cities in our region contacted us about starting the I've Got 7 program as well. And again, it's sort of reinvigorated us to say, well, we created this program, we really know how to do it, but we're thrilled that everyone is participating.
I love the name because it's I've Got 7. You're like, well, what does that mean exactly? So break it down for us. What are the 7?
Sure. So the 7, it's kind of got 2 meanings. The first is we want everyone to have 7 days emergency supplies. We realize if we ask people to have 7, they're probably going to have 4 or 5, and that's better than asking for 3 and getting 1 or 2.
Right.
The second is we've got 7 steps that we ask people to take, including having food and water. That's number 1. And if there's one emergency supply, I recommend it's water. I mean, not just because we're in a drought, but as humans, we need water. Our pets need water. We can go a little bit longer without food than we can without water. We need water. A preparedness kit is our second step. We want people to have a kit both at home, at work, in their car, and putting that kit together is interesting in Santa Monica. What we want people to do is have 3 or 4 days in your car and then another 4 days at home. That way you'll always have something. And it may not be for the major disaster. It may be you're stuck at a SIG alert and wouldn't it be nice to have some food and water and then you can replace it. We really want to get away from the model of buying 5 or 7 days worth of supplies, putting them in a closet somewhere and waiting for a disaster. We just want you to know that, hey, I've got 5 or 7 days of food at home. It may be canned soup, it may be cereal that we cycle through, but we're always replacing it, and that keeps it fresh. Getting trained is another important step. Taking our community emergency response team training is a good one. We recommend you have cash. In the event of an emergency, banks are not going to be open, the ATMs are not going to be open. It's good to have some cash just to use in those first couple of days. Having special shoes or strong shoes and clothing and blankets is helpful. Any special needs things you may have, so medication or pet supplies or diapers, whatever fits your household special needs, we recommend having a few days worth to get you through. And then most importantly, contact information and a family plan. How am I going to get in touch with my family following a disaster? Am I going to drive to Los Angeles to meet my wife? Am I going to pick up the kids? What is our plan if something were to happen during a day when we're not together?
I have a lot to do. I'm excited to make sure that I'm ready. So what are some common mistakes that people make when it comes to emergency preparedness? Like if I have a 24-pack of water at home, am I good?
Sure, probably not. Well, it depends how big the packs of water are, but we'd say you want to have a gallon of water per day per person in your household. Now we recognize that's a lot. We recognize for a family of 4, we're asking for a lot of storage space. Common mistakes are underestimating how much water we need, forgetting about our pets, and a significant common mistake is we put together an earthquake kit and then we don't look at it for 2 or 3 years. So I have 6-year-old children right now. I put together an earthquake kit when they were born and it's filled with diapers and with baby formula. If I brought that to them now, they would be pretty upset. So keeping all of that information fresh, medications, making sure that if you have special medications that they're not expiring, and just taking the time once a year to go back, look at your supplies, see what needs to be cycled in and out, and see how your family or your friends have grown and what do you need to match that.
So how long do emergency supplies last?
Again, Generally, you can buy emergency food and water. Water generally lasts about 5 years without any type of treatment. It's not going to harm you after that. It's just going to probably start to taste like whatever it's kept in, the plastic. There are some waters that cost a little bit more that last much longer, but again, what we like to do is not go that 5 years without checking it. I'll buy a case of water, I'll go to a barbecue, I'll grab the case of water from my garage, and next time I'm at the store, I'll buy another case. So I'm always cycling in and out so it won't expire. Food, you can buy meals ready to eat, the MREs they're called. They last about 5 years, a shelf life. But again, if we can get into the practice of knowing that I have at home 7 days of food and water, it's and just cycling it in and out. It's a little bit easier and it's a little bit more economical.
And Twinkies.
And Twinkies.
They
last 20
forever, I
years.
heard. So once we have all of our supplies, where do you recommend that we store them?
I'd say all of that is really up to the individual. What makes sense to you? If you've got storage space in your apartment, put some there in your house, in your garage. Again, what we'd like to do is if we can put 3 or 4 days of supplies in your car, if you have a car, and then another 4 days at home, somewhere that you can access it is really what we recommend. Again, it may be in a garage, it may be a closet, it may be in 2 emergency kits right by your door. If the event of having to act quickly, you can grab it and go.
Where do we buy all this stuff?
There's lots of places. One of the things that we teach in our trainings is you can put together an emergency kit on your own pretty easily. You can buy a case of water, 2 cases of water, granola bars, and just kind of cycle that in and out. There's a number of different vendors online. If you just go to Google or internet search and say emergency supplies, they're online and they can have it shipped to you in a matter of days.
Right.
I'll be doing that today for sure.
Great.
So how does the I've Got 7 pledge work?
So what we've done in the past, our main partner in this had been the Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District. And it was great, number one, because they have 7th grade, so the number 7 worked for us. And what we've done in the past, and we'll do again this fall, is we create a pledge form. This will be the first time that we've gone electronic, using social media and everything else. But we ask people to go, and the students specifically, to go home, see that they've got food, water, an emergency plan, and then they pledge they've done it. In the past, we've had a friendly competition between either grades, schools, or local businesses to encourage participation. And the city incentivizes the program. So we randomly select different people who enter to win gift cards or movie passes, things like that. And it's been really fascinating to see businesses get involved in that. So some of the businesses we've worked with have done preferential parking or maybe a half day off for the people a division that finishes. It's really customizable. What we want is just to know that people are taking the step to get prepared.
And very quickly, a lot of viewers out there are watching. They're like, oh yeah, I really need to do this. Where can they get more info?
Sure. The best place to start is with the City of Santa Monica's Office of Emergency Management website. We have all of our information, both how to get prepared and to take the next step, not just being prepared as an individual. Sign up for the CERT program, Community Emergency Response Team. We've trained about 300 people in the last 2.5 years, and these are the first responders. We understand in Santa Monica, we're surrounded by Los Angeles, and we're going to need all the help we can get.
Paul, thank you so much for sharing some great information with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.